Now let's move on to our next session and the theme of Digital Egypt, Unleashing the Power of Ingenuity and Innovation in the Middle East and Africa's Thriving Digital Hub. So let's welcome our panelists onto the stage. Dr. Ahmed Tantawi, Founding Director of the Applied Innovation Center. Mr. Ahmed El Zaher, CEO of Information Technology Industry Development Agency. And our moderator and MC will be Ms. Samaz Aziz, Ministry of Communications and Information Technology, Director of International Relations. Thank you for joining. So the stage is yours.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to the Egypt session here at Sushi Tech Tokyo. We are excited to take you on a journey into the heart of one of the most rapidly advancing digital landscapes in the MENA region, Digital Egypt. Titled Digital Egypt, Unleashing the Power of Ingenuity and Innovation in MENA's Thriving Digital Hub. The session will shine a spotlight on how Egypt is harnessing the power of innovation, connectivity, and a young dynamic talent pool to position itself as a regional leader in digital transformation. Egypt's strategic location at the intersection of three continents has long made it a vital global gateway. Today, the gateway is digital. Through both public-private partnerships and a forward-looking national vision, Egypt is building the infrastructure and ecosystem to lead in connectivity, cloud services, and the digital economy. We are honored to welcome two key voices shaping this transformation. Dr. Ahmed Tantawi, Advisor to Minister of Communications and Information Technology and Founding Director of Applied Innovation Center, and Engineer Ahmed El Zaher, the CEO of the Information Technology Industry Development Agency. The two speakers will provide success stories, investment opportunities, and why Egypt is the place to watch for startups, talent, and tech innovation. So whether you are seeking to invest, expand, or collaborate, get ready to explore how Digital Egypt is not just rising, but thriving. So let us begin. Now it is my pleasure to ask Dr. Ahmed Tantawi to tackle in details how Egypt is tackling bold strides on innovation and tech talents development. Dr. Tantawi, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and thank you all for being here. I'll try to give you a high-level overview of what we do in the area of innovation and especially in the field of AI, artificial intelligence, and what we do. We've built what we call an Applied Innovation Center, which is really a mix between an R&D center and an applications development center. And it has three objectives that are all linked to one theme, which is doing hands-on work. The first objective of the center, the first mission really, is to drive the adoption of artificial intelligence and emerging technologies in general, in the government sector in particular, but in the nation, of course, as a whole. But the idea here is that we wanted to show senior officials in the government that AI is real, AI can deliver results, and AI can really provide a positive ROI, return on investment, although the return doesn't have to be financial, of course. It could be financial, but it's more social, because we're talking about government here. And we're doing that through through building applications, through actually manifesting the results in real life. That's the number one mission. The number 2 mission is, since we're doing things, then we develop applications for government agencies and NGOs and sometimes leading private sector entities. We develop applications for them, solutions for them that use emerging technologies, and of course AI is on top of that. And we develop those solutions with them for their challenges. Right? And the third part of the mission is to develop the technology skills of very highly talented young graduates in general, sometimes young professors and so on, young professionals. We develop it in an R&D environment. So we develop really the skills of people who are already very good. And we make it even higher. We take it to a higher level and allow them, when they go out, when they leave the center, of course we don't want them to leave, but we want them to leave at the same time, because when they leave, they go to other places, other entities, and they can build teams there. They can whether build them in the private sector, in the startups community, or in other government agency, or wherever they want, right? So these are the 3 things, and as you see, they are interrelated somehow. Build a solution that serves the government or an NGO, and through that, drive the adoption of AI and emerging technologies, and train people who are very highly skilled. Now, we work with government entities in particular as a team, and this is a very important part of the model. That is not really what usually academic industry relationship works. Usually one part designs and develops a solution, then gives it to the other. In this particular case, we work together, we ideate together, and we come up with an idea of a solution that has an impact, that is useful to the entity, right? Which we call the beneficiary, and we develop it for them, right? We develop it by basically recruiting a team that works on it, and sometimes we work with an entity, usually commercial or academic or research or what have you, that can help us build a better solution to serve the beneficiary. But again, it's very important to remember that we work with the beneficiary as one team. Now, what areas that we work on and what we're focusing on, basically almost everything that requires emerging tech. We started with the solutions or the challenges that require the government to do work that it can hardly do without AI, and AI would help accelerate that work. We started with the health sector, healthcare sector in particular. That's the number 1 area we started with, and I'll talk about others actually. The other one is the judiciary, the justice system, because it's kind of slow. Egypt is a very large country. Egypt has a very long tradition in the justice and so on, but the system is kind of slow because the number of cases and so on is very large, and AI can help. In terms of healthcare, we focused on solutions that are required, especially in the mass screening of large segments of the population. I'll come to that. We also work in the culture, I'll mention that, in decision support for the government at large. And one sector in the private area that we really focused on is the BPO, or the Business Process Outsourcing Center. And I guess this could link into what my dear friend Ahmed El Zaher will talk about in a minute. Okay? One of the things we built is this strategic technology base. And I give this as an example. There are others, but this in particular is very interesting, because for those of you who know Arabic, and I think there's maybe a few who know Arabic, Arabic is a language that has variations, that have colloquial versions that are spoken and used in different countries. Even in the same country, you have different colloquial. It is not the pronunciation that is different. It's the words that can be different and that can have different meanings in different places. So there are versions of it. So we focused on the Egyptian colloquial Arabic, which multinationals usually don't develop, and we needed to develop this as a base for many, many, many applications. Why? Because this is the language that people speak in Egypt on an everyday basis. So we need to capture that, be able to do the speech-to-text transformation or transcription really of text, translation from that colloquial language to over 40 languages we did it, and again the text-to-speech part as well. And this base, we've developed it, the technology, and then we built on top of it solutions that are, operating in various sectors, especially the judiciary, to transcribe court cases, to transcribe, legal proceedings, and so on and so forth. And this is actually operating today in many, many courts. It helps also, this is the first step. The next step would be to take that thing and build, which is what we're doing in some cases, build solutions that help the judge. So it's an assistant to the judge. That's the first step. The next steps will be to help the citizen give their case in plain language, non-legal. And the system will give them an advice whether it makes sense to sue or not, because it can tell them the chance of you winning this case is 10%. Don't waste your time, based on history and based on law and so on and so forth. And it could also help lawyers and so on. We've also, worked on this using the same base to transcribe and capture medical discussions, to put it in the transcription records of patients. An evolution to that is obviously generative AI, and especially Arabic-enabled LLM. We have no intention at this time to build our own LLM, and we don't honestly believe, and we can argue about this, but we don't believe that we need to spend resources on developing yet another LLM. We use open source and improve them in the sense that we try to get the data to be correct, the content itself, basically giving something that has very good mastery of the Arabic language and the Egyptian colloquial Arabic in particular, in Arabic language in general. This is number one. Number two is that the data that we put in there is data that is correct, that we extract from newspapers, from books, from anything that is serious, not just blogs and whatever rubbish is on the internet. So it's more of a focused LLM that's high quality, so it can have applications in various areas, right? Back to the healthcare, as I mentioned that one as a very important one. We worked on the areas that require mass screening of large segments of the population. For example, diabetic retinopathies, roughly 18 to 20 million diabetic persons in Egypt. A very large number. They need to have their eyes screened every year. There is no way this can be done without automation. No way. No country actually can do it. You need ophthalmologists. It's not only they can't do it because of lack of resources, because it's not needed. The machine can help you, and it can free the doctors to treat. So you discover more cases early and have the doctors treat the patients and heal them early, and which is better obviously for everybody. Glaucoma is the second one, macular edema. Breast cancer is very important thing, because again, it's impossible to screen 25, 30 million person every year for breast cancer. And this can also be done using, this we've done it with an NGO actually, and so on. Early childhood care is for teeth, chronic kidney disease. I'm not gonna go through the list, but probably the one that's very important is the mental health care, because this is one thing where we can show that even if there are solutions that can be purchased, they will not work. You need to understand the culture, the language, the values, and a lot of things in order for that to be effective, which is, by the way, true for some of even the medical things. Genetics are different, the diet is different, the progression of the disease is different, so you need to do all these things. Therefore, you need to develop these solutions locally. In the judiciary, I mentioned that transcription of legal proceeding, legal classification, decision support for judges for many, many cases, legal drafting. All right, in customer service center, and this is an interesting part as well. As you know, in call centers, there is usually a mechanism for quality assurance. They go over some of the transcripts and make sure the agent is saying what it's supposed to say, no wrong information given to the caller, right? To the customer, that is, and so on and so forth. And this can be done usually maximum 10% of the calls are screened. With this, we can do the automated with AI, again, understanding of what the patient is saying, compare it to whatever the LLM is bringing from the data, from the knowledge graph of the company, and making sure whether it's correct or not correct, giving them a grade, and so on and so forth. It also monitors the tone and the level of discussions and the words exchanged between the agent and the caller and the customer, making sure that it is okay, it's running smoothly, and so on. If the situation starts to go overboard, bad words are said, or somebody's starting to yell and so on, the call is automatically geared towards a supervisor to calm down the situation, take over, and so on, and manage the situation. These are very, very useful things. And again, we're building such solutions and availing them to companies that don't, any company can use it as a service, so to speak, in the country. Another area is using the satellite images for things like agriculture, natural resource management. For example, one very important thing is for the government to know what is the expected production of a certain crop, especially wheat, rice, corn, and really the basic things, the very important strategic crops. How much are we going to produce? And it's good to know them early. How can you do that? You basically, you need to scan and know everything, that where these crops are grown, what is the area, looking at the images over a time series basically, and the expected weather, and anticipate the level of production of every crop, how much roughly it's going to be in a range. Then the government can make a good decision about, should we purchase more of something? Should we agree to export from what we're producing, and what can we do, and so on and so forth. Another area of importance is really the land incursion part, which is people building on agricultural land illegally, or for those who build legally. We now have, it was announced I think last week, that we have a system that has a unique ID for every apartment, every building, actually every apartment in the country has a unique ID, like the personal ID, to use it in managing the sales and purchasing of apartments, the rental, the bills, the utilities, and all these things would have that unique ID. And we've used that system actually that scans and defines each building, the height of each building, the number of floors, and so on and so forth. All that needs to be done is basically for each floor, how many apartments. That we cannot do. But it's relatively simpler to do. So we do all that stuff, and we create the ID with the entity that's taking care of that thing. And I'll stop here, and thank you very much. We can take questions later on, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ahmed Tantawi, for taking us in a journey with the Applied Innovation Center on how Egypt is taking bold strides on innovation and tech talents development. Now I would like to introduce Engineer Ahmed El Zaher, CEO of the IT Industry Development Agency. And I would like to ask Engineer Ahmed to take us through the ICT offshoring strategy and investment opportunities. So here we are inviting you to come and work with us in the innovation scenery in Egypt. Engineer Ahmed, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Samah. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ahmed El Zaher. I am the CEO of ITIDA. ITIDA is the Information Technology Industry Development Agency. ITIDA is responsible about developing the IT industry in Egypt. And one of our main mission is to position Egypt as a hub of technical talent, and the hub for technical talent for the different segment of the offshoring industry. I'm talking about the BPO, I'm talking about IT services, I'm talking about research and development as well. And why we are doing this? Because we believe that Egypt has a wealth of talents that can be exported to the globe. Let me start by giving you a quick overview about the different segments of the offshoring industry. We do have the ITS, and ITS is everything relating to the IT industry, starting from coding, consulting, support, project delivery. The second pillar is the business process outsourcing, and everything is about a business process that can be offshored to another entity outside of the country. The third pillar is a niche pillar, is related to research and development, and it is about the development of application, whether this application is a standard IT application or embedded software, or even to the very niche area of in the semiconductor industry, the design of chip. And why we are following these segments? Because every segment has its own characteristics in terms of skills, in terms of soft skills, technical skills, and ecosystem. And what we are doing in ITIDA is to develop the ecosystem around every segment and to develop the skills around every segment. A second perspective regarding the offshoring industry is about whether those centers that are being based in Egypt right now, whether they are captive centers, which means that the service that they are delivering is being delivered for their own organization. And we are very proud right now that we have different examples of captive centers in the three pillars, in the IT, business process, and engineering and research and development. For example, in the area of IT, we have Microsoft, Ericsson, Dell, and the three organizations, as a sample, are developing part of their own products in centers, in software centers in Egypt right now. In the business process, we have HSBC, we have Nestle, Pepsi, and they have offshored some of their digital services to centers in Egypt to deliver those services to their own organization serving the globe from Egypt. The third pillar, the examples that we have, is Siemens, Valeo, and MediaTek, where they are developing either embedded system for the automotive industry, or they are doing chip design for their own use in Egypt. And it's worth mentioning that when we are talking about centers, the centers that we have from those examples range from hundreds to thousands of professionals working from these centers in Egypt right now. And those centers are utilizing the latest technology. They are building their solution using AI, using data science, and using the latest technology in IT industry or in chip design. The second perspective of the offshoring industry is around the providers, and those are the organizations who are using Egypt as a base to deliver digital services for their clients. And in terms of IT, we have very big organizations like Deloitte, PwC, Capgemini, and by coincidence, Capgemini already announced a couple of weeks back that they are expanding their center, or they are doubling their center from 600 engineers to 1,200 engineers within this year. And they are establishing an AI center in Egypt in order to deliver their AI project to their clients from Egypt. Business process, we have Concentrix, we have Raya and Exceed as an example for Egyptian companies. And in terms of engineering, research, and development, we have Luxoft, Bright Sky, and Cyware. So we have right now a very strong base of companies who are using Egypt as a base for offshoring their digital services. And this can apply to either large enterprises, to startups who are expanding and looking for a country where they can find the skills, or to the VCs who will be supporting their startups in finding very skilled labor and with very competitive costs. So why Egypt? Why those companies are choosing Egypt right now? I will mention a study that has been done by Everest Group in recent study in 2024. And they have done the study to see why countries or why organizations are choosing Egypt as an offshoring hub. And they came with four main reasons. The first one is Egypt as an offshoring industry is becoming a very mature industry right now. We have more than 200 centers operating in Egypt. It's about talent, and we believe in MCIT and in ITIDA, the talent is the core of these industries. We have around more than 700 university graduates, it's about the infrastructure and the connectivity. It's worth mentioning when we mention the infrastructure that during COVID, none of those centers that were operating in Egypt has stopped operation because of the robust infrastructure in terms of fiberization and in terms within the country, or the submarine cables that is connecting Egypt to the world. It enabled all the centers and the people working from the centers to work remotely without any interruption. And another point that was mentioned is that the central location of Egypt. Egypt is within 3-4 hours from any countries in Europe or the Middle East, and it is in the time, more or less, the same time zone of Europe, and it is from 6 hours, 7 hours, either to the US or to the East. And this advantage enables this industry to mature in Egypt. And if I go deeper around how mature this industry right now, this map shows the distribution of the centers that we have in Egypt, the distribution of the companies and the organizations that are using Egypt as an offshoring hub. We have almost companies from all the globe except maybe Latin America and Australia, but we have companies that are using Egypt from North America, Europe, Middle East, and Asia. And at the same time, it shows the distribution between the BPO, the IT, and the research and development. The second pillar that I want to shed lights on the availability of skills. Egypt is around, population-wise, it is around more than 110 million from a population. We have more than 750,000 university graduates every year. The median age of Egypt is 24 years or 24.5 years. It means that 50% of the population is less than 24 years and 50% older than 24 years. So it is a very young population. It's a good market, and at the same time, it is rich with human resources that are capable to work. In terms of universities, we have around 95 universities. Some of the universities are AI universities and computer science and computer engineering and electronics. We have around 50,000 graduates from the ICT sector, which are fueling the innovation in terms of IT and AI, and they provide a very good base or a very big pool of talents for the offshoring industry to strive in Egypt. And it worth mentioning as well the languages. And the language serves the BPO industry because the BPO industry depends on the language, and especially if you are a company that are looking to serve the globe from a central location. And this is one of the advantages of Egypt. For sure, we have Arabic, we have English, we have French, we have German, we have Italian. And Egypt is a part of DNA, it's a touristic country. So the affinity of our people to learn and speak multiple languages, this exists easily in Egypt. And what we are seeing right now, some of the BPO players, they serve 11 language or more than 11 language from Egypt, including very niche language like Turkish or Russian or Mandarin. And those are not easy to find all or the breadth of those language in one country. So organization, when they look at this huge talent pool, Egypt become unmatched, especially when you look at regional part where Egypt exists, whether it is Middle East or Europe. You will not find another country that has this big pool of talent. And we are not satisfied about the graduate of the university to address this pool or this raw pool of talent. No, we invest a lot in MCIT such that we can utilize this pool of talent efficiently. So we do have our own program in terms of upskilling the pool of talent in areas of IT, in areas of language, or in areas of embedded system and research and development. So this is one of the example of the programs that we have. It's called the Digital Egypt Pioneers. It's a very deep program. It's more or less a diploma. It's around 6 months or 9 months of training that the graduate of engineering and the graduate from the ICT sector goes into practical, in-depth training program in those areas. And so all of our education program or training program is done in collaboration with the major player of the industry, such in order to ensure that the graduates of this program will be employable. And it is worth mentioning that one of our KPI is how many people are being employed through those programs. Another example of our program is in the area of semiconductor and embedded system. And this is an example as well to show you the depths that our graduates or the people who are entered into this program, the depths of education that they take, such that whenever a company comes and open in Egypt, they will find the skills. They will not invest money and time in order to train the engineers on those skills. So those programs as well is 6 months or 9 months program. And another point, and I believe this is one of the advantage of ITIDA, what ITIDA does to help the companies come and establish centers in Egypt. In ITIDA, we look at it from end to end. We start working with the companies, starting from the exploration phase. When a company come and explore, I'm exploring opening a center, an offshore center in Egypt, whether it is a BPO industry or IT or research and development. We work with them to develop their business case. We provide with them the data. We provide them the data about the real estate, the legal data, who they can work with in terms of legal offices to facilitate the establishment of the legal entity. We work with them from the beginning. And in addition, we facilitate to them some sort of look and see whenever they come to Egypt. They want to know the ecosystem. We organize to them visits to the universities, or visits to the main stakeholders, to other similar companies, such that they can build their decision in a very knowledgeable way. Once a company take a decision, we work with them closely in terms of establishing their legal presence, in terms of once they establish, they would like to have access to the talents. We provide them, we connect them to the different organizations in Egypt that provide talents, whether those are organizations that belongs to MCIT or they are third-party organization. We as ITIDA as well, we do have a skills hub where all the graduates from all the program of MCIT, we do have access to them, and we help the organization to find the talents. One of the things that we do as well on a quarterly basis are employment fairs, such that the organizations that come will have access to a very large pool of talents. And once the organization begins to work in Egypt, we work with them closely as a partners. Their success is our success, such that we can enable their growth. And if they do have any problem, logistical problem, or any other problems, we be their focal point in the government in Egypt. So, and a big part of our work is celebrating the success of our partners and of our offshoring companies, or the companies who decide to use Egypt as a base for them. And this celebration, it does not stop at ITIDA. No, it comes from the higher level in the country. It comes from the president, the prime minister, the minister of communication and IT. We celebrate the success of our partners, and we always show the success of our partners. And this has helped us in promoting Egypt and confirms the idea that Egypt is thriving in this. And this is some quotes. I'll leave it a few minutes for you to read. Some quotes of the top official and the CEOs of the companies, some of the companies who used Egypt as a base to work in Egypt. And they are from the different industries. They are from the BPO, they are from research, ship design and semiconductor like Siemens, Synopsys, and they are from the analyst as well, like Ryan, strategic advisor, one of the top analysts in the BPO industry, who have rated Egypt as a best place or a great, resilient, and adaptable place for the BPO industry. And last, right now, I'm very proud of the companies who has established base in Egypt. I'm very proud of this list of companies. This is not all the list of companies who are established base in Egypt, but those are the companies who have used Egypt as a base for their offshoring capabilities in the different industry, whether it is IT or BPO or research and development. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Engineer Ahmed El Zaher, for a detailed answer to why Egypt and for taking us through the ICT offshoring strategy and investment opportunities in Egypt. Now I am honored to introduce His Excellency Dr. Amr Talaat, Minister of Communications and Information Technology in Egypt, to provide a keynote address on Egypt as a dynamic digital hub at the crossroads of continents. Dr. Talaat, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Samah, and thank you, my dear colleagues, for the excellent presentations. A great honor to be with you all today. I just wanted to maybe highlight a couple of points that would build on what my colleagues has explained throughout the session. Maybe just to start, put their efforts into perspective. We have a strategy in Egypt that we call Digital Egypt Strategy that we started back in 2018, and the main objective was to ensure that technology and digitalization is spread throughout our community and is a key factor for development across sectors of our country. So we started the strategy with a citizen-centric approach. What does our citizen require from the government, from the ICT perspective? And we thought the first objective for us is to help more and more of our people to secure a job in the era of digitalization and in the era of technology. Of course, now the era of technology has spread to be the era of AI and the era of cybersecurity and Internet of Things and many, many other disciplines. But the main umbrella was to ensure that we can attract the maximum possible number of citizens, not only those who graduated from Faculty of Engineering or Computer Science, but across the spectrum of the society to be able to gain a job in the ICT field. The second objective was the government services and our citizens' entitlements. And wanted to make sure that our citizens are able to receive government services through a digitalized, well-governed, easy way of receiving those services. Mind you, we still have a sizable portion of our population that are not yet IT savvy. And in designing our plan, we had to make sure that even those segments who are not IT savvy and wouldn't want to interact directly with technology are still capable of receiving their services and entitlements through a digital means. And the third is maybe what my colleagues has thoroughly explained digital skills and to propagate digital knowledge and spread our initiatives for more and more of a skill build-up throughout the country, and make sure that it's not only available for a certain segment or a certain geography or a certain age group or a certain profession, but throughout a comprehensive set of capacity building initiatives that aims to target all segments of our society. The capacity building programs are all designed to cover the well-coveted specializations within the labor market, are all designed in partnership with distinguished universities, whether Egyptian universities or international ones, or in collaboration with multinational companies that are leaders in technology. As I said, the objective was to democratize the ICT skills and ensure that it is available to all our citizens. We also designed various delivery techniques, whether the legacy traditional form of training in classrooms or a blended model through the internet, or a set of lectures that are available on our platform, where many of our trainees can access at their free time to ensure maximum flexibility for everyone, and that everyone has the capability of acquiring the knowledge that she or he are seeking without interruption to their other business or social commitments and obligations. In addition to that, we had a key indicator that is our main success indicator for capacity building. Why we're training our people? We're training our people in order to be able to compete effectively in the labor market, whether to meet the demands generated by the digitalization projects that we have launched throughout the past 7 years, or for the offshoring centers that my colleague has explained, or in addition for fostering an ecosystem that is conducive to innovation and entrepreneurship and working with the new and advancing technologies in collaboration with our R&D center or our Applied Innovation Center that also my colleague has explained. For the sake of brevity, I will not go through the entire presentation, aware of the time, and I only have a few minutes left. So maybe I'll just dash through to the very final slide of the presentation, just to tell you where we are after 6 years of executing on this presentation in numbers. For the past 7 years, the ICT sector is the fastest growing sector in Egypt. Our growth is around 16% year on year. So our contribution to the GDP rose from 3.2% back in 2018 to 6% this year. Our digital export services increased by 25% since 2022. So in 3 years, we grew 25%. But our offshoring services exports that my colleague has elaborated on grew 80% the past 3 years. So the entire services portfolio grew 25%, but the offshoring business grew 80% year on year. Throughout the past 5 years, we have invested aggressively on enhancing our digital infrastructure, whether mobile or fixed broadband, since 2022, Egypt ranks as the country with the fastest fixed broadband services in entire Africa consistently. The indicator that the World Bank publishes every 2 years, the country readiness for digitalization. Back in 2018, we were ranked by the World Bank in category C. In 2020, we rose in the World Bank's categorization to category B, and the recent last one was executed in 2022, and Egypt is among the top 20 countries in digital readiness. I thank you very much for your presence and for attention, and I'm ready for any questions that you may have. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Dr. Amr Talaat, Minister of Communications and Information Technology in Egypt, for your overarching address on Egypt as a dynamic digital hub at the crossroads of continents. And now I would like to thank all my speakers today, His Excellency Dr. Amr Talaat, Dr. Ahmed Tantawi, the founding director of the Applied Innovation Center, and Engineer Ahmed El Zaher, CEO of the IT Industry Development Agency in Egypt. It will be our pleasure to get your responses and questions through the Egypt Embassy in Tokyo, and let us keep the discussion going. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to our panelists and our moderator. Thank you so much. So please rise. それではどうぞ大きな拍手でお送りいただきましょう。Thank you so much. Let's send them with a big round of applause. Please proceed. Thank you.